Okay, in this video we will look at the code behind the program I showed previously. So how we can connect our Mysql database to our Visual Basic program. Okay, so this is the program I showed previously, and we will see how I did the whole work. So to do that, you need one thing: the Mysql connector for the appropriate SQL version you are using. In my case, I'm using my SQL version 6.0. So I need this connector, my SQL connector net 6.0. And inside this file, I have the link to the site that has all the connectors for all the versions of my SQL. So you need to download the corresponding connector to your version. Okay, from this site. These are the steps that you need to follow to do the process. Okay, fine. So you need this connector. When you download it, you extract the file and you will get something like this. So you double click on it to install it on your computer. You click on next like that. I've already installed it, so I'm not going to do that. So you click on next to install it on your computer. Then after that, you will have a particular folder at your drive C. This is the folder I'm talking about. You go to your drive C, then usually it will be at program files 32-bit, this one. So you go down to my SQL folder, you look for it. This is it, my SQL. Double click it. Then my SQL connector 6.0. This is the one that we are looking for, my SQL connector 6.0. You double click it. Then we go to this particular folder, assemblies. You open it. This is the file that we need to connect to our database. So once we know that this file exists, we will close it. It is time for us to go to our application. So I will open my Visual Basic application. Now you need to click here, View, then Solution Explorer. Open the Solution Explorer like that. When you open the Solution Explorer, you see this one, Show All Files. You click on this, Show All Files. You click on it. And then you come to References, this one, References. You right click and you choose Add Reference. Add reference. You see that I have previously done that, but in your case, you will not have it like that. You will have some files like this. So you make sure that usually this one will be selected by default or something like this. Yeah, usually this one will be selected by default. So you make sure you click on Browse. When you click on Browse, then you move to the drive C. You click on this until you can access your drive C. This is my PC, so I can now access my local disk C somewhere here. Okay, local disk key. Now you see that we can see this program files here. You open it. Now we look for my SQL folder. You open it. Now you come to my SQL connector 6.0. This is the one that we just installed. So you open it. Now you go to the assemblies. You open it. Now we have our mysql.data.dll file here. You double click on it to add it to the program. Now when you click on the references, you double click on the reference, you see that these files have been added to your program. And these are the references that will help you to connect to your database successfully. Now that you have these files added, it is left with the code, the Visual Basic code that will link your database. So fortunately for us, the code to connect the database, the code to read the database, and then the code to add record to the database, I have all of them here inside this folder. So let's see the code behind the connection. So right now we can say that we can easily connect our database because we have added that file. Fine. Now this is the code to connect. You need to add some import statement. This is the import statement that you need to add. Then these ones are variables that I declared. These ones are important variables. See that this one is the connection variable that I declared, and then this one is a query variable. This one is a SQL statement, a SQL command variable, and then the reader variable. Okay, so you need these variables. These ones are compulsory. You need them. You need to add them, but the names, you can just change the name to any name that variable. You can just give it any name you want, but you need them in your program. That is what I mean. You need them in your program before you can connect. For example, the connector, you go to new instance of the MySQL connection. Then you pass this string. This one is the URL to the database. See the server name, because it is on your local laptop or maybe your local computer. It is called localhost, and then your username, your user ID, you put it here. So in my case, I call it username as the variable name is saying, and then the password too, I gave it a variable. So whatever you will put inside the text box, that one will be what the machine will see as your password. So the database is whatever you will put at the use variable. Okay. So this is it. So this one is the URL, and then the connection will take the URL and then it will follow it to connect to the appropriate database that you want. Okay, so this one is the connection. You know that you always need to put it in the try and catch block because databases can easily throw exceptions. So you need to put it in the try and catch block so that your program will not crash. So that's why I put the try and catch block here. Okay, so this is the code that will connect the database. Fine. When you connect the database essentially, you want to perform some operations. So this one is what we use to add record to the database. This one is, you see that in my case I use two forms. I use one form to connect, and then I use another form to add record to the tables in the database. So this one is a new class. In Visual Basic, we deal with classes. So this one is a new class with its import. The import statement is still the same, and it has gotten its variables here. And then this one is also the variable that we use to that to add the record to the table, you need to connect to the database and then the table. But here we did not declare another variable. We used the one that was collected from the first connection form, the username and the password, and then we just connected with that one. And then we made the user to choose the table name. Yeah, so we have a variable called table. Let me see. This is the variable table equal to text box table.text. So whatever table name that you put inside the text box, the machine will see it, and the compiler will see it, and then it will take it as the table name that you want to. So it will come and place it somewhere here. So in the connection, it has connected to the old or the previous connection statement. That is same here. So you need to connect to the same statement. But remember, here you will not be asked for password blah blah blah, because in the previous screen or in the first connection form you entered it, and then we still continue with that. Here we provided the table name. You see that we collected the table name and then we put it here, the table name, and then we insert into that table first name student last name and the index number, blah blah blah, like that. So this one is the insert statement, the query, insert query. Fine. Now this one is a command variable in SQL, and it will accept your insert statement, your query statement, and then your connection. So when it takes your query statement and the connection, it can now insert into the appropriate database. Fine. So the reader, this one will automatically insert the record, and then the reader will help you to read the statement. Fine. So you can say from here that the data is inserted successfully. The data is inserted successfully. And then, so this one is in the try and catch blocks. If this one does not throw any exception, then you will have this success message. But when this one throws exception, then it will tell us the error, and then we will print the error message to the user. Fine. So this is the code that will help you to insert record into the table. Okay. So you will put this one behind the button that you want to click to insert records. Behind that button, whatever button you call it. So in my case, I call it button add. So at the click event, I just put all this code behind it, and then this statement is supposed to be above the class, the form class, the particular form that you want to use to collect or insert record into the table. So it should be above that class. Fine. We shall see it in the program. Now this one is the code to read data from the database. So as usual, similar statements are here. Variables were declared, and then the connection statement is still the same. All those variables already exist, and then we just connected. Then this is a select statement because we wanted to pull data from the database, so we use select statement rather. So we use select statement with the where clause. So we were using the index number to pull the data. So where the index number matches with whatever we will put inside the text box, then it will pick the record from that row. Okay. And after that, these ones, you see the reader will read the data, fine. But then you need to pull or show to the user which specific, because it will read all the data that correspond to the criteria you have given. So you have to specify which particular data you want to. So I want to get the value at the first column, which is column 0, and then I also want to get the value at the second column, which is 1. You see, this one is like arrays. It begins from 0. The machine always counts from 0 upwards. So the first column here is column 0, and then the second column here is column 1. Okay. So I just want to read that particular data, and then I will convert it to string so that the user can see it as either a name or whatever he is looking for. It will be seen like that. Okay. So this is it. When this try executes successfully, then we will show the user there is a record found, and then we will show the record. If there is an error, then the catch block will catch it, and it will tell us. If this one executes successfully and there is no record found, then this statement will show. So at the end of the day, you need to dispose of the connection so that the connection will be closed. Okay. Yes, you need to dispose whatever statement, whether it was a successful connection or connection was not successful, you need to be disposed of. Okay. So this is how to read data from the database. This is the code behind it. Okay. So we will go to the program and see how I put the code behind the buttons. So let's check some of these. See, this one was the first form, the form connect. So behind this button, I put this code there. You see that this one is the button connect, and then this is the code behind all what it is doing. After we have added that mysql.data.dll file, you can now add this import. You see that this import statement, this is the class, the form, this is the form. When you create a form, you would automatically have this class, and then this is the class, the import statement above the form. This import statement will help you to get all these commands correctly. Without this import statement, these statements will not work. Okay, so that in all, that is how it is. Now when you come to the add to the database table, this particular button 2, there is a code behind it. This is the same import statement here, and then similar code here. And then when you click on the add button, then we see that this password, these details have been collected already in the first screen. So I'll just refer to it in this form, and then I'll only take the table name that you provide over there. Then I can connect and I'll add whatever record that you added in the text boxes. So this statement will, as I showed in the screen, the previous screen, this statement will execute. This statement will execute with the name, index number, and then it will execute successfully. When this statement, this one is an insert statement, so when it executes, it will insert the records into the table. As the same way that we type in the command prompt, it will do the same thing. Okay. So this is it, how the whole thing works. And then I think in reality, this is how it works. So I will open it again. See that this one is the password, and then it is taking it. So when these ones are taken, I will always refer to this throughout the code, because I will not ask the user to enter it again, but any connection that will be required, I will just place this records inside. Okay, so basically this is how you can successfully connect to your database. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching.